Hello there. Welcome to Tuck and Cash. Today we're going to do another episode where we rate the new birds from latest Wingspan Asia. And of course, joining me, we have Flan from Winging It. How are you doing, Flan?
Hello, I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, yeah. I'm very excited about this. So, again, we're going to rate the birds by either play it, tuck it, or hold it. And again, a lot of this bird is gonna be first impression for Flan. So, and I've played some of this bird before. So, let's go. So the first bird that we have here, oh, this is a very interesting one. We have a two power coming up, and it's the Philippine eagle.
Yes, I remember seeing this one. So, roll all five dice. You may roll any number of dice up to two times. If at least three rodents are showing when you stop, draw two bonus cards and keep one. Oh, yeah, this is a really, you're gonna gamble right on this one.
Right.
And you're already gambling by picking up a bonus card, but now you're trying to gamble on the rolling of the dice before you even get a chance to pick up the bonus card. So
Right.
this is such a tricky one. I mean, obviously, like all round end powers, if you play it in the first round, you give yourself extra chances to benefit from it. But rolling three rodents is so hard. So I think it's not an instant play for me, but equally, I don't think it's an instant tuck. I think I'd probably put it in the hold category. And if I can afford to get it down in round one and I feel like I'm in a gambling mood,
Yeah.
then I might go for it.
Yeah, I think for me, like the two rolled in for 6 points still kind of justify a play.
Mm,
Like it's a pretty solid return. And again, like
yeah,
if you can get even just one extra bonus card and you can score a couple
right.
of points, it's gonna be worth it. Uh, but I must give a cautionary tale here. Like I actually played this bird in one of my very first game of Wingspan Asia. I just felt like there was so much promise with this bird. I played it
Mm,
in round one and I rolled the dice for like 4 rounds and did not get any bonus card at all. Like I was so disappointed at the end
right.
of the game. But
Yeah, that does feel like the risk. I'm sure it's one of those, like we've seen birds like this before, right? Where your first few experiences could really shape how you feel about it. So I'm sure there's going to be someone out there who's going to play this. They're going to get four extra bonus
yeah,
cards from it, and they're going to say it's the best bird of the game. So
I
yeah,
know.
I guess it's a wait and see kind of thing.
Right. Literally, if you can get four bonus cards, this bird is so broken.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, we need some math calculation on the
Oh
probability
yeah,
of this.
I'll get started on it.
All right. The next one, oh, this is kind of interesting. All right. It has a long name. It's called a Scaly-breasted munia.
Wow.
So
All right. Okay. So you get to choose gain a seed from the supply or tuck a card from the deck behind this bird. Very interesting.
I know.
Obviously, yeah, going in either the grasslands or the wetlands, being able to get food is always very nice. But I
Right.
think equally, maybe if you don't want that food, later in the game, some of those birds are not quite as powerful. And so maybe switching up, getting the tucks on this bird. I don't know. I like it. I like it. I have to say, it's expensive, two food for 2 points, but it's two different foods. So even, early game, stick this in the wetlands or the grasslands and start getting some food. I like it. I think I'd play this early in the game.
Yeah, I think this looks like a definite play for me as well. For the star nest, like you say, the flexibility to gain food or gain point.
Mm,
Again, like just based on my limited experience with Wingspan Asia, because Wingspan Asia is a standalone game with like 90 new birds in the game, what I notice is that, that there's actually way less birds that allow you to generate food in
mm,
grassland and wetland in
right.
Wingspan Asia. So I think this is one of them, and yeah, I think it can be quite powerful in early game, and like you say, and maybe switch to tugging in late games. So
Yeah.
felt like play. All right, next one we have a rock pigeon.
Oh, oh, it's another red cornered one.
People always
So I
wonder
think there's
what's the
only
red corner. I
yeah,
mean,
there's only a few of those. So
yeah,
okay, that's interesting. So all players lay an egg and you lay an additional egg. So
right,
similar powers that we're used to, I guess, in the base game
yeah,
where everyone lays an egg, but there's no constraint on the nest here. So
yes,
I don't know. I actually I think potentially that can work in the early game, right? You
yeah,
you you lay eggs and you're suddenly getting 4 eggs instead of just the normal two. So,
Right.
maybe you save yourself some turns. I mean, I think like most of these kind of birds where it's 0 points and one food, the earlier you can play that and the more benefit you get from that, it can definitely work. So, yeah, I don't think I'd instantly play this, but I think it's at least a hold. I think, like I say, early in the game, it could be very strong.
Okay, yeah. I feel like this is also more of a play for me again,
Mm.
but I would say like you say, I feel like it has a pretty short window to play it because of the
Mm,
0 point.
right,
But yeah, I think round one I'll be very happy to play it like just to get
definitely.
accelerated with the number of eggs. But yeah, this is definitely a upgrade from a lot of the bird we have seen in base game. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next we have a predator coming up. We have the Eurasian eagle owl. All right.
Oh wow. Okay, that is a long power.
I know. Get your reading
So
glasses.
yeah, so up to 3 times draw a card from the deck when you stop. If the bird's total wingspan is less than 110, tuck them behind this bird. If not, discard them. Okay, so again, it's like one of these push your luck. There seems to be
Right.
quite a few of these different predators where, maybe you go one time and you think, okay, do I want to really push on and try and get some more, in this case, tuck cards, or in some of the other ones, cash food. So again, I think you have to look at the numbers behind this and try to work out
Yeah.
whether are you likely to get one tuck or maybe two. But I don't know. I feel like you're pretty likely to even just get that one tuck. You compare to some of those base game hunters that look for less than 100. Those are pretty reliable. So I dig it. I think this is definitely a nice, refreshing
Yeah.
hunting power. So I think, yeah, for a couple of rodents and 4 points, if you can get this down early and get lots of tucks,
Right.
I think this would be a good play.
Okay. Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah. It would be interesting to see like, traditionally like with
Mm,
the Wingspan base game, a lot of engine was built by like, very consistent like tuck and draw or tuck and lay.
right.
It would be interesting to see like a lot of this like push your luck bird, like how effective they
Mm,
would be in like an engine setting. Again,
yeah,
the potential here is like three tugs in one go, but
exactly. That's the thing. I think it is going to be a case of trying to work out what the right approach is. Do you look at one card and then you've got to decide, okay, is it worth going for that second one? And really gambling that you're going to get something that still is less than 110, or are you just going to play it safe and take the one? So yeah, it's going to be some interesting dynamics, I think, for sure.
Yeah, looking forward to that. All right, next. Oh, we have a very interesting name here. We have the red-vented bulbul.
Very nice. Okay. So if you have at least one cherry in your supply, lay one egg on this bird. That's very interesting.
I
That's very
know.
different to the
Yeah.
kind of powers that we're used to seeing. So again, another grassland bird that's going to get you extra eggs. So again, maybe you save yourself some turns. It's quite expensive early game.
Yeah.
Getting that food might be quite challenging, and then also making sure you've got the right foods.
Yeah,
In
the
this
one
case, for
cherry.
cherries.
Yeah.
Mm. But I guess it's one of those where, if you have that cherry, you can just keep using this bird, multiple times in a row, obviously, until the egg space fills up. But you just need that one cherry. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it can work. I'm not sure it's an instant play though.
Yeah.
Definitely early in the game.
Definitely like kind of situational, like, if you
Right.
have a
Right.
grassland engine or yeah, in mid game you have a lot of food, the extra eggs can accelerate your game.
I
But
think so.
yeah, the three
Yeah.
egg space definitely doesn't make it very sustainable for like a
Mm,
long-term engine. So yeah,
right.
I would say it's more of a whole. All right.
Yep.
Next we have a teal power coming up. We might have seen this power already for the ruddy shell duck. Or maybe not.
Oh yes. Yeah. I think this is I think we've seen a similar power that was teased at least.
For the
So
Mandarin duck. Yeah.
for the Mandarin duck, yeah. But so you draw 5 from the deck, add one to your hand, tuck one behind the bird, and then discard the rest. So yeah, I think I don't know. This is a very interesting power, right? Because you're guaranteed points, you're guaranteed cards, and looking at 5 cards, that's a lot.
Oh
And
yeah.
you're basically able to pick the best one, and
Yeah.
then you also get a point. So I don't know. It's a lot of investment, right,
It
for the
is.
early game. And for me, these kind of round end powers, you're not going to get anything until the end of round one, and
Mm-hmm.
that's almost a third of the way through the game. You had 8 of your turns by that point, so you are still looking at 5 cards. You are still getting to keep the best one and obviously get another tuck. But I don't know. I think you kind of need to get extra card draw before you're going to look to activate this. So I'd probably say this is going to be a tuck for me.
Oh, a tug, not even like a
Mm.
hole. Okay.
Maybe a hold. I don't, it's expensive, right?
It
You know, two
is.
seeds and a wild, and you only get 3 points. I
Yeah.
mean, it's quite a lot, I think, to be investing in a wetland bird like this.
Yeah. But digging for 5 cards is like,
It's nice,
it
but
can
you
be quite
can't.
powerful.
Yeah, but you can't do that until the end of the round. And like I say, by that point, it might give you a nice kickstart, I suppose, into round two. But it is going to depend really on what you can get from those 5 cards.
Yeah. I think it will be at least a hole for me, like just because of the potential and the promise.
Mm.
All right, next we have a grassland bird. We have the desert wheatear. Wheatear.
Ooh, very nice. So for each bird in your grasslands with an egg on it, roll any one dice, choose one type of food you rolled, and gain one of that food
All
from the supply.
right.
So again, another grassland food generator, which is nice. I always like to see those.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this is really going to reward you, I guess, for building up that grassland engine and laying lots of eggs on all the birds. You give yourself more choice. So I mean, this feels like a no-brainer early in the
Yeah.
game. 2 points for one food. You put it in your grasslands, you lay eggs on it, you're going to gain a food. So obviously, the more you build that up, the more choice you get, but you're still getting a food. And any kind of food like that early in the game is so crucial.
Yeah. I think this is definitely a play. And based on the bird I've seen so far, I must say I noticed the thing that, they like in Wingspan Asia, the birds are kind of balanced that, they have useful power, but they don't have as many bird points as some of the birds in
Mm,
base game. Like in base game we have hummingbird that's like
yeah,
4 points, or like the
right.
sandpiper that's like 5 points. So I think it's more balanced now that they kind of reduce the bird points.
Definitely seems like it, yeah.
Yeah. So now we have the graceful prinia.
I thought you said there weren't many food generators in the
I mean,
grasslands.
it just come. It maybe these are the. I guess I did not see this bird when I play as well, so maybe I
Right,
was
okay.
I was biased.
Yeah. This is a cool power though. So discard an egg, and if you do, gain a word from the supply. So yeah, kind of like I guess the crows that we're used to in the base
Yeah,
game, but you only get a choice of one kind of food. So maybe a bit of a downgrade in that sense, but I mean, 5 points on a star nest, flexible habitats, couple of worms.
yeah,
I guess maybe the food cost is the only thing that makes it a bit more difficult to play
yeah,
early on in the game. But again, if you're trading eggs for food in the grasslands, that's always a strong power. So I think this would be a strong play for me early in the game.
yeah. Early game, I can totally see it. A play as well. Again, I see the balance here. Like you say, compared to
Mm,
the crow, it's like a little bit more difficult to play, and like the
definitely.
food is not as like flexible. Like you can only gain grubs. So,
Mm.
yeah, I definitely very excited to see what's the meta with the Wingspan Asia. All right, next we have a
Oh
white-throated
wow.
kingfisher, another
Okay.
predator.
Yeah, another one of these cool predators. So choose any dice, roll it 3 times. Each
Uh-huh.
time, if you roll a worm, a fish, or a rodent, cash one.
Yeah.
And if not, you stop. So, yeah, I think we looked at one of these before that was kind of similar, but this one, you
Only
get
roll
even more
one
choice.
dice. It's like
Yeah,
balance.
yeah,
You
you
only roll
only,
one dice.
yeah, so you're rolling one, but you get a choice of,
Three
I
different
guess,
food.
yeah, three foods, 4 sides of the dice. So, again, probably need to look at the numbers behind that, but I
Yeah.
feel like that's going to be more reliable
Okay.
than certainly some of the base game hunters. And again,
Oh
I guess
yeah.
if you want to really chance it and roll 3 times, you might get 3 caches. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a really strong activation potentially. And again, flexible habitats, flexible food cost.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind it. I think this could be a nice engine building bird if you can get a few cache food from it.
Yeah. So would you say it's a play?
Hmm. I think so. I think
Okay.
it's at the very least it's a hold.
Yeah.
I like the flexibility. I think being able to put it, maybe as your opening wetland or forest bird is a good option to have. And yeah, the flexible food cost is nice. And even 3 points is not bad, I don't
Yeah.
think, for those
Um
two foods. So
I'm
yeah.
I'm leaning for Ho for now too.
Mm.
So yeah. Just watch. Turn out that all the hunting birds are the best engine building bird in Wingspan Asia. You just have a row of like hunter and just
Yeah,
score like
yeah.
15 points.
Hey, maybe that is the new strategy.
All right, we have a cool birds coming up. We have the
Ooh,
rhinoceros auklet, another
wow.
predator. Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
another predator. So this time you get to roll two dice, but you're only looking for fish.
Yeah.
And additionally, all players can discard a card from their hand to gain a fish. So
Hmm.
this is kind of like a two-parter. This is a similar to the frogmouth, I guess, that was teased
Yeah.
by Travis maybe a few weeks back. So yeah, interesting. I mean, again, like you mentioned, you said about the sandpipers and birds like that. 5 points for one food for your opening wetland birds. I mean, it's hard to kind of complain on that front. So you're already getting a pretty good return there.
Yeah.
And then I guess if you activate it enough times, two dice to get one fish. Yeah, again, it's
Tough.
it's pretty
It's pretty.
it's tough. It's tough, but it's probably going to be more reliable than some of those base game hunters. So
Yeah.
probably the only thing holding it back is the egg space. I think if it was two egg spaces,
Mm.
I'd be much more likely to play this, but just having one
Yeah.
makes it a bit more tricky to work with. So
Yeah.
probably somewhere between hold and play, I'd probably lean towards hold. But certainly the window of opportunity for this with the 5 points for one food is certainly bigger.
Yeah, I think I'm more of play again, like hard to deny like a 5 points bird for
Mm,
one fish.
right.
Again, I really like the new power design. Like for example,
Mm,
here it really make you think about the difficult choices here because if you activate it and then your opponent will have a
right.
chance to like, gain food like from your
Yeah,
activation.
but I suppose it's good for you as well, right? Because it is in the wetlands, so you're kind of gaining cards, and maybe if you discard some of those cards you don't want, you can get fish at the same time, and you're
Yeah.
not having to go to the forest. So,
Yeah.
in that sense, it could be a good way to kind of really kickstart a wetlands and get some fish and get some more wetland birds down very quickly. So, yeah, I guess it depends a bit on what other birds you've got and what you can draw, but I think there's potential there.
Yeah. But again, I like the open opportunity for like all
Mm,
the players.
yeah.
All right. So next, I feel like we have seen this, but I'm not sure. We have the Grandala.
Uh
Oh
yes,
yeah.
I think that might have been. I don't know if it was teased or if that was in one of the reveals or something.
Oh, it
But
might be in the
yes,
rule
if
books.
you
Yeah.
it might be, yeah. So if you laid an egg on this bird this turn,
Yep.
tuck one from the deck behind the bird. So very, very nice. I mean, you're getting basically 3 points there just for laying eggs,
Yeah.
and it's in the grassland, so you're already going to be laying eggs. The two nest spaces is probably what is going to hold it back a little bit. You only have those two activations, and then you've got to start getting rid of those eggs. But I mean, we just saw that earlier bird that lets you discard eggs and gets food, so maybe it's a nice combination there. And
Yeah.
5 points again for two food and a pretty reliable point source. I find it very hard to not play this early in the game.
Yeah, I agree. This is definitely a play here. Again, like I like to see the subtle like balancing here
Mm,
with the egg space. Like,
yeah,
seems like Elizabeth really nailed it down after like three expansions. So
definitely
all
feels
right.
good.
Next, we have the little ring plover
Ooh,
in the
very
wetland.
nice. Very nice. And this one kind of similar, but the other way around. You're discarding cards from your hand,
Mm-hmm.
and if you do lay an egg, so I mean, anytime you're getting eggs in the wetlands, that's
Right.
nice, right?
Yeah.
So you're already drawing cards again. If you're drawing cards that you don't want, you can just discard those and get free eggs. So yeah, 4 points again for one food and three egg spaces. I like it. I think that's going to be a really solid early game bird to get in the wetlands. So I'd definitely be looking to play this.
Yeah, definitely a play and a good starter bird.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we have a forest bird. We have the great spotted woodpecker for three
Ooh, very
foods.
nice. Very nice. So this one you gain a worm or a seed from the bird feeder if there is one. So
Hmm.
yeah, this is very similar, I guess, to some of the base game
Yeah.
birds. This is probably the first one that almost makes me think it could have been in the base game and you wouldn't
Yeah.
even notice because the power fits in so well. So yeah, I mean, three different food for your opening forest bird. I think that's always pretty straightforward. Like I say, there's similar birds like that,
Yeah.
and there's almost always worms or seeds in the bird feeder, so you're pretty likely to be able to get the activation there. So I think. Yeah, for your opening forest bird, I think this is a pretty straightforward play.
Yeah, I think it's a solid play. Not the most exciting, but pretty solid.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right. Oh, there we go. We have the Sri Lanka frogmouth.
Haha. There we go. That's the one we were talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this one you're again rolling just one dice, but you're looking for for worms, obviously more
Right.
likely to come up than the fish we looked at before. And again, all players can then discard a card from their hand to get a worm. So yeah, probably not quite as good as that other one we looked at for the fish.
Yeah.
Obviously going in the forest, how likely are you to have extra cards? You're kind of going to need to maybe get a nice tandem going with a strong wetlands to give you something to supply this. But I mean, one dice to get a worm, it's not the most likely,
Yeah.
but I mean, again, it's similar to some of the hunters that we're used to. If it's your cheap opening forest bird, 4 points for one food, I think it can work. So probably, again, somewhere between play and hold situationally.
Yeah.
Most of the time, probably hold, but
Yeah.
I think it could work.
Yeah. Again, the power is just very interesting. So your
Mm,
gain is potentially 1 point, but the second
right.
part is like it get activated regardless if you
Mm,
succeed or not. And is that
yeah.
1 point really worth like letting your opponent, get a grub,
I
to
think that's the thing. I think if you can make sure you're benefiting and that you are always discarding and getting those extra ones and making use of it, then I think that's a strong position to be in. But yeah, you're definitely at risk, I guess, of giving free food to your opponent.
yeah.
Almost always someone's got a spare card to get rid of, and they'll happily take the free worm there.
Yeah. But again, one food for a forest bird to
Right.
kickstart, not bad.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think we have seen this as well from Jamie teaser. So the
Oh yes.
Asian coal. This is a very interesting one. The first
Yeah.
pink
So
power that we have seen so
yeah, the
far.
first pink power. So again, similar to some of the pink powers we used to, you get to lay an egg when someone else lays eggs. But this time it's on the platform nest, which we've not seen before.
Yeah.
And again, you can go over the nest limit, which is very interesting. So yeah, I feel like this has potential to be one of the strongest, if not the strongest, pink egg laying power, just purely because you get that extra capacity almost in being able to go through over. It can go in any habitat, cost two different foods. I mean, we already know how strong these pink powers are against Grassland's engine, so I think
Yeah.
this would be a pretty safe play for me.
Okay. Yeah. Um for me, I think I'm more leaning towards whole, just again based on my limited experience with Wingspan
Mm,
Asia. One thing I noticed is that there's many ways you can gain egg in Wingspan Asia. So we have seen quite a few birds that allows you to gain like quite a number of eggs in one go. That's like one play power that lay eggs, and then
right.
there are other birds that let you get eggs in other habitat. On top of that, let's not forget that, in Wingspan Asia, we have the duet board that allows you to gain
Very true.
free
Very
eggs
true.
when you play birds. And so yeah, I again based on a few games, I feel like the ping power might not be as strong as in base game, especially for two-player games as well. So if your opponent
Mm,
is not
that's
laying egg,
true.
then you are not gaining any benefit. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I think like all the pink powers, it is going to be situational, and
yeah,
like if you see your opponent is building up a really strong grasslands, then of course you'd look to play this and try and sort of counter that and benefit from it yourself. But yeah, if they're not laying eggs, and like you say, if you're able to get eggs from some of these other powers we've just seen, or from the duet board as well, then maybe your opponent isn't going to lay eggs quite so many times. But yeah, I guess you just kind of wait and see on that one.
yeah. But the flexibility is nice that you can go over the egg limit. That's really cool.
Definitely,
All right.
definitely.
So next we have the red-watered lapwing. I probably butchered that name, but keep going. It's a predator. Wait, is it a predator? No, it's not.
It's not a predator, but
Okay.
it relies on other predators. So you discard any number of cards from the tray and refill it. If at
Yeah.
least one of the discarded birds is a predator, lay one egg on this bird. So again, potentially you're looking at a wetland egg source, which is always very nice. And yeah, we just talked about maybe
Yeah.
finding other ways of getting eggs that aren't just activating your grassland. So I don't know. It's a tricky one because you're relying on there being predator birds in the tray,
Yeah.
which isn't always going to be the case.
Yeah.
But you are still potentially getting the chance to refill the tray, and then maybe if you've got a bird after this one that lets you draw from the tray, you could potentially get some nice synergy there and
Yeah.
giving yourself more options to look at. So I think there's more to this power than just the point scoring, but
Yeah.
um, Yeah, it's a situational one. I don't think this would be an instant play,
Yeah.
but I think there are situations where this could work.
Yeah, I think agree. Like there's potential with this power, especially it
Yeah.
refill the tray after you discard.
Mm,
But yeah, definitely not the most excited if I see in my starting hand. Like I would rather
no.
have other wetland starter.
Right.
All right, maybe we'll do one more. Oh, this one kind of have a difficult name here. So it's the Satyr tragopan. I hope I pronounced that right.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
All right.
Very nice. Okay, so this one you give a card from your hand to another player,
Yeah,
and if you do, lay 2 eggs on this bird. So we've got a forest egg source
I
this time,
know.
so that's pretty nice.
Yeah,
Anytime you get eggs in the forest is good, right?
yeah,
Of course, giving give us a card from your hand to another player. Are you going to give them something good? Probably not.
yeah.
So there's maybe not too much value in that. But I mean, yeah, couple of eggs in the forest, small nest capacity is probably going to hold it back. But 5 points already for that 2 food. I think for the opening bird
Yeah.
in your forest, that's going to be really really nice. So I would definitely be looking to play this early on.
Yeah, I think this looks at play to me as well. Again, like gaining eight from the forest, like two
Mm.
eggs in the early game. Like
Right.
you just literally save a turn that you typically take to lay
Yeah.
eggs. And
Yeah.
you can also think about this, like you can also like keep like a subpar bird from your hand and then just plant it and give that
Mm.
away to your opponent.
That's
Like
true. That's
so
true. Yeah, I think this could work as well. Like you say, you're saving your turn laying eggs because you get two, like
yeah,
if you're playing on the base boards, and then also, you just play one bird in the wetlands. You're going to draw cards. You probably start discarding eggs from this bird, so you're clearing out that space and also giving yourself more cards to then activate this next time.
yeah.
So I think there's some really nice potential combos here with this one.
Oh yeah, I like it. Definitely a play. All
Yeah,
right, I think this might be a good stopping point for this episode. Again, thanks for watching. Please stay tuned. We're gonna review more birds in the upcoming episodes. And thank you, Flan, for joining me today. Make sure you head
been a
over to
pleasure.
yeah, always. Make sure you head over to Flan channel Winging It as well to check out more Wingspan content. So yeah, see you all next time.